The recent escalation in the Gaza-Israel conflict began with a targeted operation on the Philadelphia Axis, a narrow strip of land running along the Gaza-Egypt border. A high-ranking commander, a key figure in insert organization's name, was assassinated. The attack, attributed to attributing party, if applicable and confirmed, sent shockwaves through the region and ignited a fierce exchange of fire between Israel and militant groups in Gaza. The assassination, shrouded in secrecy and met with immediate retaliation, has once again plunged the region into a cycle of violence. The incident highlights the volatile nature of the conflict, where even the slightest spark can ignite a larger conflagration. It also underscores the complex web of actors and interests at play in this long-standing struggle. The assassination itself raises more questions than answers. The timing, the target, and the modus operandi all point to a calculated escalation. However, the lack of clear claims of responsibility and the strategic objectives behind such a move remain unclear. The immediate aftermath of the assassination was marked by a swift and forceful response from the Israeli military. Airstrikes targeted various locations in Gaza, including what were described as military installations and weapons depots. The intensity of the strikes, coupled with the reported casualties, signaled a determined effort to degrade the capabilities of militant groups operating within the enclave. However, the lack of clarity surrounding the motivations behind the initial assassination continues to fuel speculation and uncertainty. Some analysts point to potential motives, such as a preemptive strike to thwart an imminent attack or a show of force aimed at deterring future aggression. Others suggest that the assassination might be linked to internal Israeli politics or regional power plays. This lack of transparency only serves to exacerbate tensions and heighten the risk of miscalculation. Without a clear understanding of the objectives driving such actions, it becomes increasingly difficult to envision a path towards de-escalation and a sustainable ceasefire. The assassination on the Philadelphia Axis comes at a time of significant geopolitical realignment in the Middle East. The framework proposed by Likud, Israel's ruling party, envisions a new regional order characterized by closer ties between Israel and several Arab states. This vision, driven by shared security concerns and economic interests, has gained traction in recent years, particularly with the signing of the Abraham Accords. The coalition backing this new Middle Eastern order argues that it holds the key to regional stability and prosperity. They contend that by forging alliances based on pragmatism and cooperation, the region can move beyond the historical animosities that have long hindered progress. This approach, they believe, will ultimately isolate and weaken actors like Iran, which they perceive as the primary threat to regional stability. However, this emerging framework has also drawn criticism for sidelining the Palestinian issue and entrenching existing power dynamics. Critics argue that peace and stability cannot be achieved without addressing the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people for self-determination and an end to the occupation. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, two key regional players, are carefully navigating these shifting sands. Both countries have shown a willingness to engage with Israel on security and economic matters, driven by their shared concerns over Iran's regional ambitions. They have also taken steps to improve relations with Israel, including participating in joint military exercises and fostering closer economic ties. However, both Riyadh and Abu Dhabi remain acutely aware of the sensitivities surrounding the Palestinian issue. They recognize that any perception of abandoning the Palestinian cause could have significant repercussions both domestically and within the broader Arab world. Therefore, they are likely to proceed cautiously, seeking to balance their burgeoning ties with Israel with their commitment to a just and lasting solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Their stance on the recent escalation in Gaza will be closely watched. While they might share Israel's security concerns, they are also likely to call for restraint and a de-escalation of violence. Their ability to leverage their influence with both sides will be crucial in preventing further bloodshed and creating an environment conducive to dialogue and diplomacy. Section 5. A mini-NATO in the Middle East. Promise or peril? The concept of a mini-NATO in the Middle East, while still in its nascent stages, has gained significant traction in recent months. This proposed security alliance, envisioned as a bulwark against Iranian influence, would bring together Israel and several Arab states under a common defense umbrella. Proponents argue that such an alliance is necessary to deter Iranian aggression and maintain regional stability. However, the idea of a mini-NATO is fraught with challenges and potential pitfalls. First and foremost, it risks further militarizing the region and exacerbating existing tensions. Second, it could entrench the existing regional order, potentially at the expense of addressing the root causes of conflict, including the Palestinian issue. Moreover, the formation of such an alliance could provoke a backlash from Iran and its allies, leading to a dangerous escalation. The region is already grappling with multiple conflicts and crises, and the emergence of a new security architecture could further destabilize an already volatile environment. Section 6. Hamas, Resistance and Strategic Ambitions. Hamas, the Islamist militant group that governs the Gaza Strip, views the recent escalation as part of its ongoing struggle against Israeli occupation. The group, designated as a terrorist organization by Israel, the United States, and several other countries, has long employed armed resistance as a means to achieve its political objectives. Hamas's strategic goals are multifaceted. First and foremost, the group seeks to resist what it perceives as Israeli aggression and occupation. This resistance takes various forms, including armed struggle, political mobilization, and social welfare programs aimed at alleviating the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza. Second, Hamas aims to maintain its grip on power in Gaza, where it has governed since 2007. The group's ideology, which combines elements of Islamism, Palestinian nationalism, and anti-imperialism, resonates with a significant segment of the Palestinian population, particularly in Gaza. However, Hamas's use of violence and its uncompromising stance towards Israel have also drawn criticism and condemnation from the international community. Section 7. The Future of Gaza, Scenarios and Possibilities. The future of Gaza remains uncertain, with several potential scenarios unfolding in the wake of the recent escalation. One possibility is a return to the status quo with periodic flare-ups of violence punctuated by fragile ceasefires. This scenario unfortunately has become the norm in recent years, leaving the population of Gaza trapped in a cycle of humanitarian crisis and despair. Another possibility is a negotiated settlement that addresses the root causes of the conflict, including the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the borders of a future Palestinian state. However, such a scenario seems unlikely in the current political climate, given the deep mistrust between the parties and the lack of international consensus on a way forward. A third, more pessimistic scenario is a full-scale war between Israel and Hamas, potentially drawing in other regional actors. Such a conflict would have devastating consequences for all sides, further destabilizing the region and setting back the prospects for peace for years to come. Section 8. Regional Ramifications, a New Middle East Order. The recent escalation in Gaza is not an isolated incident but rather a symptom of the broader geopolitical transformations taking place in the Middle East. The region is witnessing the emergence of new alliances, the shifting of old rivalries, and the rise of new threats. The old order, characterized by the Arab-Israeli conflict as the dominant fault line, is giving way to a more fluid and unpredictable landscape. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab states, are a testament to this changing reality. Driven by shared security concerns, primarily the perceived threat from Iran, and enticed by the promise of economic cooperation, these Arab states have chosen to prioritize their own national interests over traditional allegiances. This realignment has profound implications for the Palestinian cause. With some Arab states normalizing ties with Israel, the Palestinians risk further isolation and marginalization. Moreover, the focus on Iranian containment threatens to overshadow the Palestinian issue, further diminishing its importance on the regional agenda. Section 9. Conclusion, a crossroads for peace and stability. The recent escalation in the Gaza-Israel conflict serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the urgent need for a just and lasting solution. The assassination on the Philadelphia Axis, regardless of the motives behind it, has once again plunged the region into a cycle of violence and recrimination. The international community faces a critical choice. It can continue to respond to each crisis with reactive measures, attempting to contain the violence without addressing the underlying causes. Or, it can seize this opportunity to reinvigorate the peace process, working towards a two-state solution that guarantees the security and dignity of both Israelis and Palestinians. The path forward is fraught with challenges, but the alternative, a perpetual cycle of violence and suffering, is simply unacceptable. The time for bold leadership, creative diplomacy, and a renewed commitment to peace is now. The future of the region and indeed the world may depend on it.